Hello and welcome to the Electrical Innovations Guide to the Pyronix Enforcer. On this episode, I'm just going to show you how to set and unset the system. So the first thing we need to do is just lower this panel, and actually on the front of the panel it gives you a guide to how to set and unset. So if you're unsure, it does tell you on there. Also, your user guide has all this information in there as well. All you need to do is approach the panel and put in your user code. Now the code that it comes with out of the box is 4 2s, and it's ready to set. As you can see, we've got more than one area programmed, so it's given the option to select area A, or we can choose different areas. This depends on how you programmed your own system. For now, we're going to set area A and press yes. We get a countdown timer and are ready to leave the property. If you exit via your final exit route, which in our case is the front door, you'll get a final chime telling you that the system's set and now it's fully armed. On your return to the property, you get a countdown timer when entering. Return to the panel, type in your code and the system is disarmed. Welcome to the Electrical Innovations Guide of how to use a Pyronix Enforcer. In this video, I'm going to show you how to add a tag to your alarm system and then set and unset the system using that tag. So first thing we're going to do is wake the panel up, and then we're going to head into the manager's menu. To access this, you press D and then type in your manager's code. The default code out of the box is 2222. On here we're going to use no to cycle through the questions. If you want to enter a sub-menu, you can answer the question with the yes. We're looking to edit users and then add a new user. As you can see, I've already got one user code programmed in, but now we're going to add a second one with the tag. Instead of entering a code, all you have to do is present the tag to the keypad. As you can see, it's filled in the details here, and you just press yes to accept. Now it's going to ask you what type of user this tag is going to be in the panel. You can either have it as a basic user or as a manager. We're going to leave it as a basic user in this case. You can choose which areas you want to set it for. If you want your tag to be used as a normal user on the system, having access to all areas is a good idea. However, in some cases, you might want to give your tag to a dog walker or a gardener or a cleaner or someone like that, and you only want them to have access to certain areas. And it also makes it a lot easier to use. So in this situation, we're actually going to go ahead and just restrict them to zone A. This gives you the choice of whether the user can set or unset the system. And we're going to leave it as unset and set the system. Flexi set. If we chose more than one zone, this would give them the option to choose which zone when they present the tag. And we're going to keep it as no and leave the username next. So in this situation, we're going to keep this tag and just call it tag 1. What I'm doing here is pressing the key corresponding to the letters on the keypad. If there's multiple letters we needed further choices on, you can press it multiple times. For example, D, E, F, or empty space. We'll just make this one tag 1. That's now programmed. We'll press no because we don't want to add any more users. And as soon as we see capital letters, we can press A to exit the menu. Now we're back in the main menu. We can use this tag to set the system. As you can see, that's gone straight into zone A and the system's now set. with that second chime, we know the system's fully armed, and we can also unset the system. Welcome to the Electrical Innovations Guide to Using a Pyronix Enforcer Alarm System. In this video, I'm going to add a new key fob to the system and show you how to set and unset that key fob, as well as programming each different key to do whatever it is you'd like it to do. So the first thing we need to do is head into the manager's menu. I'm just going to pop my key fob on top of there so I don't lose it while I'm using it. It has been known. And then we're going to head into the manager's menu. So we'll press D and input our manager's code, which as default is 4 2s. Once we're in the manager's menu, we're going to use yes and no to answer the questions. We don't want to set the time and date, so we'll keep pressing no until we see edit users. We'll press yes to answer that menu, and then yes to add a new user. As you can see, we've already got 2 users on the system. We're just going to press yes to add a third. What we're going to do now is take your key fob and press the top 2 buttons to attach it to the system. As you can see, the flickering green light turns red and green, and that means it's ready to go. That chime sound tells you it's been added, and now you can program your name, and we're just going to call this one Fob 1. Press yes when complete, and now we can program what each of the buttons on the key fob does. Button 1 is lock, and as default that will set the system on zone A. So as you can see, this is giving us the option to program the buttons and what they do. So we're going to start by, if you press the arrow keys, you can decide which button you're programming. Not only do you get 4 buttons, but you also get combinations of buttons, the lock and unlock together, 1 and 2 together, and then different combinations on the fob. We're going to start with button 1, lock. As default, that's set for control an area, and the area would be A. So we'll press yes, set area, yes, A. You can see that's already set. We're happy with that, so we'll leave it as it is. Button 2 is unlock the entire system. Button 3 is the first of the zone areas we're going to get to choose to control. In most cases, people will leave it as set area B, which means when you go to bed, you can press the first button, which is the second arming button, the button labelled 1 for your bedtime set, nighttime part set, or part set B, depending on what you want to know it as. In this case, we're going to leave it as that, and we're going to move on to button 4, which is labelled as number 2 on the system. This one says show status. Now if you press this while in normal day mode, and I'll show you that in a second, it will give you the option to look at the green LED or red LED to tell you whether the system's set or not, and I'll show you an example of that. We'll start moving on to the different combinations of buttons. Now just pick one to show you what we could do with it. At the moment, 1 and 2 together have no action, but we can soon change that. We can have it as show status, set an area, unset an area, or operating output, or no action. So a couple of things we like to do on our systems: unset an area or set an area. So what we can do is we can choose set area, and then we can choose area C, and then we could have programmed something like your shed or garage to area C. What this means is during the day when you're at home, you can have your garage fully alarmed and your system on and protecting your garage even though you're in the house. And it's easy to do with the key fob. What we also do is remove the countdown timer from that, so it's 5 seconds. So it's nice and easy, quick, nice to set, easy to set. You can use your fob to see if the system's set or not. Really easy to use. The fobs are great for that. What we're also going to do is I'm going to show you the other thing we do, which is operate outputs. So you can set a user-defined output to do whatever it is you like. And what that means is one of the programmed areas in the PCB on the back of this board gives you the option to wire a cable to it, which can then trigger anything you like. In some instances, we do this with garden gates and garage doors. So you might have seen our videos where we're using one of these key fob to operate the full alarm on this button, the garage door on this button, the gates on this button. It's a really nice way of just carrying one fob around with you on your car keys without having to have one for each of your systems. Okay, in this situation, we're just going to go back to the original settings, and that'll do. Keep pressing no until you see capitals, press A to leave the manager menu, and we're good to go. So at the moment, we're going to press and hold the number 2 button, and we're going to see an LED to tell us what status our system is. As you can see, it's green, the system's not set, and we're good to go inside. If we were to press this button here, it's going to start setting the system. We can leave via the front door, the system's now set. And again, you can press your fob and see that we've now got a red LED, tells us not to go in because the system is armed. When you come home, you get your countdown timer again. You can easily unset your system. You can even do that before you start your countdown timer, so you can set and unset your system from outside of the property. Okay, so that's the key fob. These are really fantastic. They make setting and unsetting the entire system really easy. Welcome to the Electrical Innovations videos on a guide to how to use the Pyronix Enforcer. In this video, I'm going to show you how to change a user code or set a new one up. The first thing we're going to do is head into the manager menu by pressing D. Now this can be two types of menu. It can be a manager's menu if you insert your manager code, or it can be a user menu if you put in your user code. So the first thing we're going to do is go into the manager menu and create a new user, and then we'll show you how to change that user code at a later date. We're going to cycle through this menu by pressing no until we get to the menu which is edit users, and we're going to press yes to answer that menu. We're going to add a new user, yes. And as you can see, I've already got some users set up in the system, but we're just going to add another one right now. We're going to choose a new user code, and we're just going to put 9999. Press yes. And we're just going to go through these questions and answer them all right now. So we just want it to be a standard user, and we just want to be able to set areas A and B because C and D aren't in use. You might wonder why it makes any difference. The difference is if you use the app, when you log in with that username, areas C and D will show up. If they're not actually able to be accessed by that user, they're not going to show. You want to be able to set and unset the system, but in the case that you only wanted to be able to come in or out of the property, you can change them options here. You do want the ability to flexible set. That means you want to be able to choose between A or B. And then we're going to choose the username Ben, why not? Okay, so now we've set that user with the user code 999, we're going to access the user menu and change the code. So once you've got your user code set, you can now use that user code to access the user menu, similar to the manager menu, but a little bit different, to change the code. So you press D and you type in the code that you've just set. You've got a reduced amount of functionality here compared to what you had in the manager's menu, and it's only giving you control over the things that you can control as a user, and one of them is change the code. Press yes and you just type in your new code. It's as simple as that. 1 2 3 4. Yes, that's done. So now we'll press no to exit this menu. Exit user menu, press yes, or at any time you could just press A to exit the menu. Now we're back in here, you can check your code works, set areas A or B, and that's it. Hello and welcome to the Electrical Innovations Guide to the Pyronix Enforcer. In this video I'm going to show you how to use your master manager menu to go through and, amongst other things, change the Wi-Fi settings on your panel. This is normally important because I get a phone call saying my app stopped working, and usually it will be because the customers have had a new Wi-Fi system put in and the panel was connected via Wi-Fi. So we're going to go through, we're going to change those settings, and while we're in the manager's menu, I'm just going to have a quick rundown of what you can find in the other settings as well. So we're going to start by pressing D. Now all this is on the bottom of this flap here, and it does say right at the bottom, press D to enter the master manager menu. You can then put your manager code in, which is 4 2s out of the box, but you can change that if you like. The first one we see is set time and date. You can go in there and update your day settings if you need to. If you're connected to the internet on the panel, it's going to use the cloud-based time, so you should never need to update your settings. User outputs. If, for instance, we've programmed an output on the system, that output can then trigger something else. You can control this in here. Now normally we would set a fob button or a code to trigger that output, or even the app as well. There's a trigger in the app, but sometimes you need to do it manually at the panel, and you can just go in there and trigger the output from here. Omit inputs. If you want to take a device off the system, you can. And edit users. You can see some of our other videos for what's in there. You can go through the logs, and here's the one we're after today, which is set up the Wi-Fi. Press yes to enter this, and you can set up Wi-Fi with a device. Now the way you do this, so what we're going to do is try and set this up with a device. As you can see from my iPhone here, I'm in the Wi-Fi settings for the iPhone. I'm going to press yes to set up with a device, and the enforcer is going to start broadcasting a Wi-Fi network on its own frequency. On your phone, just wait until that's found by your device, and here you can see it's found the same serial number that is in your enforcer. So we're going to choose that network and connect to it, hopefully soon. There we go. Now on some phones that will immediately bring a pop-up on the phone, but what happens with the iPhone is generally pop-up blocker is enabled, so you're not going to be able to see any pop-ups coming up. So what you do in this instance is go into Safari, and you're going to just type 192.168.0.1. That's the root IP address for the panels and most routers. Once you're in there, you can see you've got the option for the iPhone to scan the panel and the Wi-Fi networks locally. You can then just choose the Wi-Fi network that you're connected to by clicking here, and that will put the password details into the panel. In the instances that you're not going to be able to set up with a Wi-Fi device, you can also do this manually. You can type your SSID, so that's your Wi-Fi name. So sometimes your network might be Ben's network, or it might be BT Hub 5/XYZ, or whatever it might be. You have to type that in there. You do have to make sure you're using capital letters and the right numbers and lowercase where it's relevant. So in this instance, if you had a BT Hub, B, capital letter A to change it to a capital, T, again, capital, H, again, you might need to change that to a capital, Hub. You get the idea. Once you've done the SSID, you can then choose your password, doing the same method, typing it in the same way, making sure you're carrying capital letters, upper, lowercase, any symbols, might be done with the 1 button, you've got spaces with the 0 button as well. Once that's done, you can connect, and it should give you your signal strength. This signal strength, normally I've seen this connect anything down to a 5. Once you're getting up to sort of like 7 or 8, you'll never have a problem. Sometimes at the lower end, you can have issues now and again. That's normally solved by a simple internet booster. Very rare. I think of all the systems I've done, I've only had to have one internet booster. It wasn't even a big property. There must have been something going on in the environment that was causing interference. That was the only time I've had to do it. So once that's done, your Wi-Fi is all set up. You can press A to exit the menu, and you're done. Hi everyone, welcome to the Electrical Innovations Guide to the Pyronix Enforcer. In this video, we're going to cover how to do a walk test and just check your system's all good. Let's say you're going on holiday and you just want to double check it before you go away, or you have annual servicing, but it's been 6 months or so, and you just want to be sure that everything's working as it should, you can do that all from the Master Manager menu. If you've watched any of our other videos, you'll know this by now, but you just press D and then put your manager code in, 4 2s out of the box, and then you're in the menu. You can press yes and no to control this menu. No if you want to skip to the next question, yes if you want to enter the sub menu. We're going to press no until we get over to walk test, and then we can go in and do the test. First thing it gives you is the option of which areas you want to test. Now there's no harm in doing all of them in most instances. There might be some occasions where you can't get into a certain area and you want to be able to test the rest of the system. You could control it from here, but generally just press yes and you're good to go. As you can see on our test kit, we've only got 2 inputs. So I'm going to trigger both them inputs now and you'll see what the panel does. First up, we're going to do our door PIR, and we're just going to open and shut the contact, and you can see that one's disappeared from the test. Next, I'm going to go and trigger my PIR for the room. That was door contact, sorry, PIR for the room, and you'll see that one goes off the system as well. All good. Simple as that. Nice completed walk test. Easy done. You've got peace of mind now. That was me set chime on zone 2. If you wondered what was going on there. There you go. The joys of doing a demo system, eh? So now you've got your peace of mind that your system's all good. You can even test your siren if you like to. Just go in there and the siren will go off. We've not got a siren connected to our demo system at the moment. And that's it. You can whiz through to the end of the menu, or you can just press A at any time to quit. Hi everyone, welcome to the Electrical Innovations Guide to the Pyronix Enforcer. In this video I'm going to show you how to go into the engineers menu, which you probably shouldn't be doing unless you know what you're doing, but I'm going to show you that here. So you can go into the engineers menu and add or disable a device depending on what you want to do. So there's a couple of ways, a couple of things you need to think about when you're doing this. I'm going to cover them off for you so you get it right and you're not getting errors when you exit the menu, which you can get sometimes if you don't do it right. So the first thing we're going to do is put in your engineer's code. Now, if it's an engineer's code out of the box, it's 4 1s. If you've had this fitted by an alarm company, chances are they're going to have their own engineer's code and they're not going to want to give that engineer's code out. They have a legal requirement to come and disable the code for you if you ever want to take your system back. But if you want someone to be managing and maintaining your system, the only way they know that everything they've done is right is by keeping a secure code. They can't have users being able to log in and change settings when it's their liability and their maintenance plan that is covering that. So that's why when you think, oh, I've not got the engineer's code, why didn't it give it me? That's why people will not be given their engineer's code when you've got a system that's installed and maintained by a professional alarm outfit. So in this case, 4 1s gets you in and you're going to be presented with set time and date. To operate any of these menus, you can press B to go back, or you can press your arrows to go forward, or you can answer no to go to the next question, yes to go into those menus. B and no to go back is the main ones. So what we're going to start with is go to the wireless device control and control or change inputs. They're the 2 that we're going to be dealing with today. So we're going to start with wireless device control. Control inputs. An input is any device on the system, so like a PIR, a bell, or anything like that. Control inputs are all your wireless devices. So door contact might be in there. So do you want to learn a device? No. Do you want to delete a device? Yes. We never ever want to delete all the devices. And now we're into actual devices on the system. As you can see, we've only got 2 on our system. It's just a demo kit. We've got a door and a PIR. So if you want to delete one of these, you can just press here and delete, or you can leave it attached to the system but disable it in another menu. So if you delete it from here, you still need to disable it in the other menu. So let me just go and show you what that's going to be. If you press yes, okay, and now you can see that the PIR is available. So if we did that and then exit the menu, as soon as you see capital letters, you can press A. You're going to get a wireless mismatch alert. Now what that means is you've got a device programmed into the system which is different to learnt, a device programmed in which is not learnt. So because we've deleted a learnt device, we need to sort that out. Return to engineers menu, yes, and the way we do that is change inputs, okay? So we're going to change inputs, we're going to go to the PIR that we've just deleted, and we're going to disable it. 2 zeros sets it to unused. We can leave that menu now, exit, back to the main menu, and that's you sorted. Hello and welcome to the Electrical Innovations Guide to the Pyronix Enforcer. In this video, I'm going to show you how to add a device onto a system. That's either by returning a device that was previously deleted or by adding a whole new device. In some instances, like our last video showed, you might need to remove a device from the system. So we're going to be able to use this process to put that device back on after you've made a repair or added a battery or whatever it was you needed to do. Or if you've bought additional devices and you want to add them to your system, you can use this as well. So the first thing we're going to need to do is enter the engineers menu, which is 4 ones, unless you've changed it. Once you're in here, we can press no to the first question and go into wireless device control. We've got our wireless device here. We're just going to press yes. Control inputs, yes. Learn devices, yes. As you can see, we've already got a door contact learnt on the system. As you can see, we've got a PIR available. This is one we deleted off the system earlier, and now we can add it back in. So we're going to go ahead and press yes. And it's saying learning. So all you need to do is press this learn button here. Now on every device it's in a slightly different position, but on the PIRs you just press it here until you see flashing LED colours, and then the panel chimes and says input learnt. Now once your input's learnt, you can just press yes and you're back into your normal menus. You can press no again until you see the capitals. That's your main menu. Now if you had added that as a new device, one that hadn't previously been learnt, you would now have to program that channel in. So if we were to do that into channel 3, you would then need to go to change inputs, press yes, and choose your channel that you've just learnt. It won't say here whether you've got an active device on that channel or not. So you need to go between the two menus and figure out where you are with things, or take notes as you're going. So we've already learnt input 2 earlier on, so we've just added that learnt device back onto the input. We'll go and activate it here because we'd set it as unused, and we're going to have it as 09, which is an area FX. It's like the hallway device that might be at the bottom of a landing, but you can choose it to be a final exit, an intruder, or you can use the arrows to cycle through all these. What all these different types of input do is all listed in the programming handbook. For the most part, in a domestic property, you're going to want your final exit on your front door, an entry route if you've got a hallway or something to walk through between the panel and the door. These ER zones, ER and FX zones, are switching zones. So during full set, they might do one thing. During partial set, they might do another. So zone 9, for example, if your hallway is on full set, it's going to be an intruder zone. But if it's on partial set, it's just going to be a normal, like a hallway entry exit zone. So you can come down your stairs in the morning and walk into the zone with no problem. So once that's all set up, you're good to go, and that's your device put in and taken out. So the only other thing you need to think about is when you do learn these inputs, and we'll go back to input 2, you choose your type, and then you've got to choose which areas they go into. So this one's just in A. Like I say, we were treating it like a hallway device, but it could be in B as well, or it could be in C or D, however you want to do them. Input areas, any, means that this will be set when any are set. You've got different ones as well here, saying different options. All of this is in the handbook. Basically, what all means is all devices must be set for this one to be set. So if you've got a partial set system, you need to set A and B before this one would work. An example of that would be, let's say you had an office area with a common lobby. This could be the device in the lobby and it would be set to all. Now, Office 1 leaves, locks up, arms their zone A. The hallway area, which is zone C, doesn't get armed. Office 2 leaves, locks up, sets zone B. Now because A and B are all armed, zone C will be armed as well now. So that's a simple one with that. Generally, you want to keep that on any. Attributes, it's a lot of different things each device can do. So you can have a chime follow, which if you watched the previous video and it kept chiming while I was doing a walk test, it's because I'd got this one to chime follow. Normally you'd want no chime or a single chime. I tend to set the hallway or the front door or something like that onto a single chime because you can easily use the chime on and off button on the keypad just by pressing C when you're in normal day mode. So we'll leave that to no at the moment and then we'll go to the next one. Emittable. So this is the option I was looking for to show you. Now an emittable device means that you can then go into your manager menu and emit that device from the system. Now what that's good for is particularly when you use the app, because in the app you'll get a toggle switch by your devices. So you'll log into the app, you'll see each device, you'll get a toggle switch and you can easily set and unset each zone at the same time as you can easily emit or unemit, emit and add in, I guess, each zone too. Now that's really handy. Let's say you're having let's say you've got a dog and you know you've got a dog walker coming, but you don't want them to have a fob or a key fob or a code. What you can actually do is emit your back door and emit your kitchen, leave the dogs in the kitchen and give your dog walker a key to the back door. You could tell them then that they can enter the house, no problem, but if they enter any other room, they're going to cause an alarm. If they stay in the kitchen, they know that that's all good to go. You can then, the morning that you've got your dog walkers coming, you can emit those zones. The next day when the dog walker's not coming, you could set all your zones as normal. So that's why emittable is quite useful. Double knock means you just have to see it twice. There's not really much use for this in a domestic system. It's quite useful in some areas if you don't want to be notified on the first instance. It needs to be picked up twice. Normally open means basically it's like on a door. So a door is normally closed, so the contacts are together. You can change that so it's normally open, and if you shut the door, that's when the alarm would go off. Again, it's an edge case as to when you'd need that. And again, monitor activity. You can set it so this PIR, every time someone walks past it, it logs it on the system log. Groups, you'll probably never need groups, but it basically means you can put different devices into different groups on the system. And that's it. Next one is description. We're going to press yes. There's two areas where you can add text to label the devices. So enter the name here for your description, and you can also do locations. Now, I would never use locations unless you've got duplicate descriptions. What that basically means, let's say you had a landing detector, but you had two landing detectors, and you could label them both landing and then just put far landing and near landing, or landing 1, landing 2. Or on a bigger system, you might have loading bay door and then loading bay door 1, 2, 3, 4. Now generally, me personally, I would always put loading bay door 1 into the location, and then loading bay door 2 into another, descriptions. I would use just the description, loading bay door 1 on the description, loading bay door 2 for the next zone on the next description, and I'd still not use locations. But sometimes it makes more sense to you to use the locations when you need to. So it's up to you on that. I would generally stick to descriptions, not use locations if you don't need to. And that's it. That's your system set. And you can press no, no, no to go to capital letters, A to exit the menu.